Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today I wanted to do an interesting video comparison. I don't know if we call this Rob's Ramblings or Learn Something, but I was requested by a subscriber to compare the Penguin to the Baby Banter, and so I thought it would be good to compare, I think, three sets of knives that might fit well into that group, at least knives that I enjoy and that I carry. Now, for these three, there's probably 10, 12 other sets of knives you could include in this, and I'm sure, feel free to comment down below. I'd love to hear you guys, other knives that you would consider in this group, but these are the knives that I've kind of settled in on that I like, okay? And there's certain reasons for them, but we'll just kind of go with that. So the two that he really wanted to know was about the Baby Banter and the Mini Penguin. And I thought, you know, let's do the regular Penguin, let's do the Banter, and let's throw in the Kizer Lieb and the Kizer Lieb M, which is a medium version of this, all right? This one's kind of closer to the larger, I would say, the larger Penguin, which would really kind of, this is almost close to that, just like there's a giant big Banter as well. And then if you want to do, you know, anything with Ben Peterson, then you could throw the Lander in there, which is kind of like in between these two guys, right? So then you kind of have that. So anyways, these are knives that I think would be great comparisons. So if you're looking for a smaller knife, something useful, something utilitarian, something, what makes a good fifth pocket knife, I really have a few here that I think are great. And I'll even show you some more that I have in my collection that are a little higher end, if you're willing to spend a little more, but these are more budget realms. Now, some of these are exclusives, and they have some custom scales on there, so it makes them a little more expensive for sure. But in their base versions, they're great budget knives, and I recommend something like that if you want a fifth pocket knife you're not worried about, so you can easily replace. So let's get into it. All right, so to compare this specifically, here's the Penguin Mini, and here's the Baby Banter. These two guys are relatively close in size, as you can see. I mean, they are about as close as you can get. So I'm going to move some of these guys back a little bit so we can kind of focus on these guys for now, right? So these guys are relatively close in size. I think they are just about the same. If you go from tip, they've got almost, the Penguin has a little longer cutting length, but handle-wise, you're going to have a better grip and presentation on the Baby Banter. The Penguin, for me, is definitely a 3-finger grip. If I choke up, I can choke up on this part right here enough and use the jimping, so I could definitely use it for a push cut or something like that. This is a great small utilitarian box cutter or what have you, especially if I need to cut something and I have a nice knife with me. Now, this is the traditional pocket knives exclusives in jig titanium scales with the M390 blade steel. You can get Penguins for like 30, 40 bucks in D2 steel, 14C28N, even 154CM. So there's different variants of this depending on how much you want to spend, but this is a nicer version, and I really like this because it matches my setup here. But that's a great fifth pocket knife for me. And then there's also the Baby Banter. Now, that's M390, this is Nitro V, and this is definitely a budget steel for Nitro V, but what I love about this is it chokes up and really, you can really get a great presentation even for my medium to medium large hands, which are large widthwise, medium finger lengthwise. So if you have large finger widthwise, because I have meaty fingers, this is going to fit you. And I've even seen people with extra large hands carry this very comfortably and not have the finger completely off. It may be off to the side, but they still get almost a full 4-finger presentation on here. I think that's very possible, okay? And it gives you a good cutting length. And Nitro V sharpens up and hones up really well. And it's a great tool. It's flat all the way up. And what I put on here is these unlock composite scales, and I love these scales. They have different variations of them. This one even has a tweezers with it, which if you wanted to do that, you could add it. You don't have to. You can make it just without tweezers. I just thought it would be cool to have tweezers, so I added them. But you don't have to have that, right? It can be just this. And there's different patterns. This is more of like a frag version. If you see this on the Wii Banter, you could do that as well. But I got this one right here. And what that does is contours the scale and made this a much more comfortable knife. So this, you know, I jazzed it up a little bit, right? If you're looking to be really have inexpensive knife and cut costs, the basic version of this, I think it's like 60 bucks, 59 bucks, right? I think it's still around that. It may have gone up a little bit, but that was what the price was with the Nitro V and the G10 scales. And it's a deep pocket carry clip, and the screws are cut out. I mean, the clip is cut out into the scales on the G10 and of course the unlock composite, and they're recessed screws. So it's completely cleared right there, so that's nice. And it has a nice cutaway for the liner lock, so you can easily drop that, which is really amazing when you consider the size of this blade. That's just great, right? And then here's the Penguin, and the Penguin is a frame lock. It's not a liner lock. It does have a milled deep pocket carry clip, this particular variant. The other ones will have like a steel clip. It'll be probably a wire clip. There's different variations of them. This particular one is jazzed up, like I said, and it's jig titanium, which I really like. And on these, at least the traditional pocket knives, the action is ridiculous. So you can drop shut this one. For such a small blade and how light it is, the fact that all I have to do is shake shut it, that's pretty cool. I like that. And it's very smooth, very buttery. And it's very easy if you use the clip to deploy, and even to reverse flick. It's really nice. And this, like I said, this works really well for me. So I like these two. And you know, the question really comes down to what are you planning to do? Do you need more of a great presentation for a cutter? Then I think the Baby Banter is really going to work well for you. And I think it's a good knife. It's a very thin blade. It's definitely a poker, but it's got some poker in the sense it's very sharp at the edge there. So you can poke through boxes, cardboard, you know, cat food, dog food, fertilizer, dirt for your yard, whatever you're cutting, right? It works really well, but it's very thin, so it's a slicer, and it's, you know, flat grind, and it comes down to a very nice thin edge. So that's really nice, and that might be what you're looking for, is for that presentation. And then I really recommend these Unlock composite scales. Definitely check them out. But that might be what you're looking for, and so that could be a contender. Now, if you're wanting something that's a little more of a tool for like cutting specific things, this is a great box cutter. This is a great tool, like if you're working in a warehouse, or you're just cutting a bunch of boxes, or let's say you need a great Christmas box knife to cut Christmas presents. Hey, this is great. I think I used this at Christmas, if I'm not mistaken. Did I? I don't remember. But this would be a great knife for opening boxes and Christmas and stuff. And you can just really cut well like that. And I don't know, I like this as a fifth pocket knife. And it chokes up well for me. It's got good jimping. I like that it's M390 steel, so it does retain the edge a little bit longer. It's maybe a little harder to sharpen than the Nitro V, but definitely retains its edge longer, and it's a little tougher blade. Still great budget steel, but this is a premium steel. So, you know, that is the benefit of paying a little bit more. So, you know, you're looking at, this was like 60 bucks, and then you're looking at the scales that were 35. So we're looking at 95. So this is around $9,500 knife. And then this here is about $120 knife. Okay, that's with the M390 and the jig titanium. So, and that's just already assembled with also the nice milled titanium deep pocket carry clip. So the question is, you know, is it worth an extra 20, 30 bucks for that kind of aesthetic? And if it is, I would get this, right? To me, it just has a beautiful look. Now, there's a Kizer version of this too. Kizer had some limited editions, and I believe theirs are milled deep pocket carry clip. I think they're steel. I think it's S35VN on those. I don't know if it's 20 CV, but I think it's S35VN. I could be wrong. But I do know that some of them have the Timascus clip, and I think Timascus pivot or something. I know they're anodized as well for the titanium. It's not jigged, it's smooth. So definitely another kind of consideration for your, for your mini Penguin. So there's different variations. Now, if you wanted cheaper ones, then, you know, go to White Mountain Knives and get one of their G10 or what have you, and you could really spend hardly anything on those. Those are really great, and those are ones you wouldn't have to worry about if it got destroyed and you needed to get another knife. So if you're going to be beaten up on it, if it's going to be a knife that you want to have just in case you need to beat up on it, that's definitely a contention. So I like both of these, but I really think they have different functions and different feels. So that's kind of why I have both. I really do. Now, if you feel like you absolutely would get one, you know, you got to kind of think what's the most important in the aesthetic. For me, if I were to have just one, well, see, that's the thing. I bought both, and I didn't want just one. So I'm going to buy both. So you can't really tell me, well, if I had to get just one. No, I would buy both. I really would. That's why I have both, because I like both. And I like both for different reasons, and I like both in my collection. And so that's me. Even if I got the cheaper version of each of these, I would still have both because they would make great fifth pocket knives. I like these. Matter of fact, in one of our giveaways, we gave away a red G10 with a shredded carbon handle one, and that was a pretty inexpensive one. I believe that one was 14C28N steel, budget blade, way cheaper than this one, but a great knife. And I think it had a steel deep pocket carry clip. But anyways, that great knife, I would still have that if I hadn't gotten a hold of this guy, right?
Likewise with this, I like this baby Banter. I think I kept it and I would have kept it, but the unlock composite scales made this a much better knife for me. And so now I definitely want to keep it. There's no question, right? I don't want to get rid of it. So that's the difference for me between the two. And I don't know if that helps you to make a decision, but I think this kind of also falls in line. I'm going to put these guys down here. It's going to fall in line with what I consider for the Wii Banter and the regular Penguin, because again, you're dealing with knives that are sort of similar in size, right? As far as blade lengths, again, the Penguin's going to have a little bit longer length. It's going to be a flat grind, both of them, but this one's going to have a thinner blade cut. So I believe the stock on the Banter is thinner than the one on the Penguin. But the Penguin is, again, that's I guess you want to call that a sheep's foot. I don't know. It's not bowed in the bottom, but it is curved at the top. So technically, I guess we could call it a sheep's foot, Wharncliffe, modified, whatever. And then here again, the Banter, you have the smaller scales, right? So you're going to have probably about the same if you go from here to here. Be able to grip and presentation. So if I get on here, medium to medium large hands, so I believe large to extra large hands are going to be able to hold this knife very comfortably. You get into double extra large, you're going to maybe starting to slip off a little bit, right? But what I love about this, and I actually gotten the Wii Banter first, sold it in carbon fiber because it was very cornered. It was very sharp in the corners, and there was not a lot of cutaway for the liner lock, and it was really hard for me to push. When I got these unlocked composite scales, I mean, look at the cutaway. That was always my biggest gripe, and now it's just so easy to get to. It made this a completely different knife. So I really, really like the Wii Banter with the unlocked composite scales, and I think it makes it a great knife. But likewise, I also love the Penguin, the regular Penguin with the jig titanium scales and the M390 blade steel. It's definitely a thinner stock than the larger version, but the action is ridiculous with this frame lock. I love it. It's super easy to deploy, and I can definitely middle finger flick it open. So that makes it really nice. The action is super buttery smooth. You can see it drops. There's no blade play whatsoever in there, and it locks in well. Now, you know, if you like really tight detents, you can definitely tighten this up. I like lighter detents. So for me, this is just beautiful. I love this action more than I like to be able to have that super crazy flick, right? I get plenty of flick right here with this. Both hands, I get plenty of flick in deployment. To me, that works just great, right? So again, you know, the question is, do you need a bigger handle? Do you need what have you on this one? So likewise on this one, I can also do middle finger flick. Oops, sorry. Middle finger flick on this one. Matter of fact, might be just a little bit easier. And then I can drop it down here again on the finger choil to the nail, which is not a problem. And I can reverse flick it as well, just easily. So again, it's aesthetics. What is more comfortable for me? And it's very similar to this. Now, there's not a finger choil in this one, so it's a full grip up here, but you know, you get all the way up here. You do have the thumb stud probably getting away a little bit here, whereas on this one with the cutting edge, the thumb stud's kind of clear on there as well, just like the thumb stud is clear over here if you're cutting. And again, the thumb stud might be sort of in the way here, depending on which way you're cutting, right? So there's that, and again, that's another consideration. And I did want to bring out the full-size version because the full size is really nice. I just got this one in recently, and we'll be reviewing it eventually. But this is really nice. This is a great carry knife for me. Again, the action is ridiculous. Great lock-in, frame lock. It just works really beautifully as well. I've actually been using this quite a bit. We had a tornado and hail and damaged their house, and I was putting some stuff up to block a window, and I was using this for quite a bit. You can see I was cutting in the yard. I was cutting some weeds, and I haven't really got a chance to clean this off, so this was used today. And it's a little dirty, but there you go. Really great knife. Again, I get a full presentation. I think extra large, double X, even 3X, easily carry. I can choke up on this if I wanted to. Maybe not my favorite, but you can certainly choke up if I needed to do a pinch grip or something like that, I can do that. Again, I like this knife. It's much bigger than the Mini, but it offers an alternative, just like the Big Banter is also a much bigger knife. Now, it also has a huge choke up point. Now, you'll notice that the edge is bigger on the Penguin as opposed to the Big Banter, but the Big Banter definitely has a bigger edge than, if you will, the Wii Banter. Not by much, maybe a 1/4 inch to a little 1/3 of an inch. But then you also have the finger choil, really nicely choke up, which makes it really functional, especially for gigantic hands. And it's a reversible clip, left and right hand. Now, most of the Penguins over here, in the budget realm, they're all reversible clips. It's left and right friendly. This traditional pocket traditional pocket knife exclusive is right-hand tip up only. And so that's just unfortunate. There's no other option for that. I'm right-handed, so it works well for me. And if you're a lefty, I'm sorry. But just know that all the other Penguins, the more budget-friendly ones, are reversible. And but at least you'll know all these wee Banters over here are as well. Now notice that these Unlock composites, you don't see it reversible. You can order these in lefties, okay? So they took off the left-handed version that is there in the Civivi original G10 scales and the Wii G10 scales. They took that off so you can actually make it left-handed when you order these scales, so the clip is over here for you. So just keep that in mind if you like the Unlock composites and you wanted to get those. But as you can see, there's benefits. It's a different aesthetic. I like them both. I like the shape of this blade and I like the shape of this blade, and both of them work really, really well. But then, you know, if you're looking for a fifth pocket knife, the Lander is a really great little option. They make this in a budget version, and this is an exclusive from Smoky Mountain Knife Works, right? This is the Mars Valley Fat Carbon, and this is S35VN blade steel. And now it is a smaller one. Probably it's going to be close to the size of the Wii Banter, and close to a little less than that. It's going to be in between these two and these two, but it's definitely, I think, fifth pocket friendly, and I like it. It's contoured scales. Now the more generic version is going to be a lot cheaper, about half price. But again, you have a smaller knife and another option. This is also by Ben Peterson. He made the Banters here. Something to consider. Now, one I didn't really speak about, and I have had in my collection for a while, is the Kizer Lieb. Now, it's not for everybody. This would be a true, I think, a true sheep's foot, because it's got the belly here and the curve on top. So that to me really looks like a sheep's foot, where that is modified sheep's foot, you know, Wharncliffe, I don't know, maybe more Wharncliffe. But anyway, so this is a sheep's foot, but again, this is a liner lock, and it's a flipper only on this one. And likewise with the Lieb, the version, the Lieb M, which is the medium version, this is a button lock. This one is a liner lock, and then this one is a button lock. So it's, you know, you have some options here, but it is a larger knife, and these would probably fall down in here, and then this one would be in this range in between the regular and that. But definitely another option for a knife if you haven't considered it, the Lieb M. Again, there are other options out there. There are other knife manufacturers that you might like, and please feel free to comment down below. I would love to hear them. I mean, there's a whole Spyderco, the Delica, the Dragonfly. I mean, we didn't even talk about those. I have a lot of Spydercos. I have the Para 3 and the Paramilitary 2, the Smock, the Shaman, and right now I'm having a chance to look at the Capara from one of my subscribers. Super excited about that. Love that knife. That's definitely a consideration. But there's a smaller version of the Spyderco that could fall into this as well. And again, the question is, do you like the aesthetic of the Spyderco? Maybe not. Excuse me. Some people really like the Banter. They really like the look of this. And this is one of those knives that just fits in your hand and works. And so to me, this is like, if I was to start off, I would recommend both, but if you're going to start off before you got both, probably go with the Banter. I think it's a better bang for your buck. It's really a more useful, utilitarian kind of knife. And then if you wait a little bit and get the Unlock composite scales, makes this one just phenomenal, right? So that's the first thing I would get. Then I would probably get the Penguin Mini. But again, if you're looking for budget cost and you just dollars to dollars and you just need to save by the cheapest, the cheapest fifth pocket knife, then I would probably get the Penguin Mini and get one of their like D2 steels, because you can get those for, I think, for like 30, 40 bucks. That's a great deal. This is going to be 60, 65 bucks, right? And that's without the Unlock composite scales. So, you know, more economical. Again, this one's going to be around the $50, $60 range as well. It is a Kizer. It's a great Kizer, don't get me wrong. I believe this one is N690. So this N690, which is another good budget steel. I mean, it's not going to be, you know, it depends on who you talk to. Some people like N690. I'm going to tell you that I think it's going to be up there with maybe Nitro V14C28N. Maybe not quite as good. At least that's where I'm at. You can tell me in the comments below if you disagree, and maybe you have some more experience and you feel that I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. I don't know. I'd love to hear the comments. I do, by the way, read the comments, and I do try to reply to them all. Right now, fortunately, the channel is at a size where I can do that, and I definitely want to try to do that because I like to engage with folks, and I like to learn. I learn from you guys as much as I hopefully you learn a little, one or two things here from me. But I feel like I learn a whole lot more from you guys than you probably will ever learn from me. So, you know, I feel like I'm benefiting from this more so. So that's my take on comparing these two. I wanted to compare these mainly, and I think they're both great knives. Different kind of functionality, different feels, different fit, finish, different options of them. There's a much cheaper versions of this. This is always going to be a little more expensive than the cheapest version of this, but you know, you can gussy up these. You can get a real nice version of the Penguins, the traditional pocket knives, or the Kizer. They have some really high-end ones, like this is an exclusive, and then the Kizer exclusives. Those make this knife really fancy. If you like this version and you want to spend a little more, and then of course the Baby Banter. This is always nice, but you know, I always like to see it with the unlocked composite scales. Now I did know, I do believe there was a release of this that had 14C28N or S35VN. I can't remember, and I think that was sort of an exclusive, and I missed it. And I wish I had bought it because that would be, you know, in these scales, I think it would be just phenomenal to have the S35VN steel on that. But, you know, Nitro V is still a great steel, still a great budget steel. I can't really go wrong with it. You know, 14C28N, I definitely think it's a little bit better, but, you know, still a good budget steel for the bang for the buck, right? So I don't know if that was helpful to you guys. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree with me, you think I'm an idiot, or if you have some other thoughts. Like I said, I like to read all the comments and I like to learn from you guys, and I do, and I appreciate it when you guys reply and respond. So please do. Hey, if you like this video, would you consider hitting the like button down below? That like button really helps out the channel, helps me to produce more content. And if you've already liked the video, would you consider hitting the subscribe button down below as well? That helps me out a lot as well. Subscribing and liking the video really helps the channel grow and allows us to be able to do more things and have more knives and be able to produce more content. And then if you've already subscribed, maybe consider hitting the notification button so you can be notified of future content when it is dropped. And if you've done all that, hey, check me out on Instagram. Let me get my card out here. Check me out on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. That's robs_nerdy_knives on Instagram. I really appreciate you watching today. Thank you so much. You guys have a great day and a great week. Bye.